Okay, so I wanted to try to do a video to explain what spinning is because it's not really a term used in psychology too much. It might be used in in therapy, but that's more of a term that's used like a street term of psychology. And so spinning is a term that you can have and learn from that as time goes on and you learn the meaning of it, that you start to realize about spinning and you start to see what it really is and how meaningless it is when somebody does it, and also how devastating it is if that person is doing it to you and you don't realize it. Pretty much the same as lying, which is kind of how it gets at the terminology spinning. And so I'm I'm a poet, so I look into words deeper. So poet meaning I used to be in a band and I used to write songs and stuff. So spinning is a terminology if you get a pictorial in your imagery within the realm of your third eye in your mind of someone who's placing. There's a lot of different meanings to it. This is just one. I'm going to have many of them. This is just one of a million. So spinning would be somebody placing false images, and false images are considered negative images within your mind. And it could be something that's positive to you, or it could be something that you just started to talk about, and the person who's spinning is trying to control you. And so what they do is they instantaneously, or the word instant, they see a foothold to get their foot in the door, like in the old days, a vacuum cleaner salesman before my time, and getting your foot in the door to ruin your mind. It's the opposite of meditating. When somebody is using you to destroy your mind or destroy you as a person, as a whole person. And what they're doing is spinning. This is just one terminology of spinning. Is they're placing the spinning part is they're spinning thoughts inside of their head. They're coming up with thoughts inside of their own mind, which are fabricated. That's why it's called spinning. So what is happening is they're just saying random things like, oh, money, oh, food. I'm not going to go into types of food and stuff, but you can imagine they're saying pizza, or they're saying a naked massage from that girl across the street, or they could be saying, giving you an imagery of a really nice food to eat. And it's just imagery. And then they pull the rug out from under you. And when you're learning how to, in, it's not really psychology or therapy, it's just basic meditation, really. And in basic meditation, you clear out negativity, your negative thoughts. And so spinning is like somebody saying bad things about you and hoping you don't realize it, putting you down. And spinning it's very sneaky. Like, for example, you could be talking about a subject. I'm trying to stay general here and not to use a real subject because that gets kind of sticky. Like if you're saying A, B, C, D, E, and they'll cut you off and they'll talk about something else. That's also spinning because they're spinning you. They're not letting you get settled in on any of your thoughts or come up with a complete sentence or make any meaning. It sort of falls into somebody gaslighting you. Now they're spinning you. They're making your words incomplete. They're making your sentences incomplete. And somebody who does spinning has a tendency to talk in parts of sentences that don't have meaning. Like they'll just say a conclusion. It's kind of a giveaway point. Like it's an act of hatred. Like, for example, if somebody has already robbed you or planning on robbing you, there's going to be a process of blaming you. First, there's a process of hating you. This is all in spinning. First, they hate you, or they have been hating you, and they blame you. They tell everyone. This is all gaslighting, too, spinning. And then they're spinning you now. And then they've already drawn a conclusion, done something to you behind your back, and the only thing they'll tell you is the conclusion, but they'll tell it to you in little tidbits of triad words and clumps of three. And these people are narcissists, by the way. Narcissists are energy vampires. And so when a person speaks in groups of threes, there's a terminology in the English language for somebody who just talks like without meaning, and they just use idioms or pieces of fragmented sentences. It's a showcase that you're being spun, that you're being abused mentally and financially. And somebody who is talking in conclusion, the conclusion from somebody who's a narcissist is going to be a negative conclusion towards you and a monetary or positive conclusion towards them or their friends. And it's part of spinning, even if they don't have any friends, which most narcissists really don't. They just have a group of flying monkeys that they lie to and control. It's a control circle. But a narcissist doesn't really have any friends, so you'll find out as they're spinning and spinning you in social events and places and activity, what you're going to find out is that you're not at the center of yourself or of the helm or the realm of being there at all. What you're going to find out is they're talking to complete strangers through you, by you, around you, while they're with you, over you, if you go shopping with them, or if you're on the phone with them. You're going to find out all this spinning and everything along those lines that you're like meaningless nothing to them. The only thing they're doing to you is using you or figuring out ways to make use of you and then discard you, which all runs into the realm of spinning. So then spinning is a term that sticks in my mind because it's just a strange word. Like somebody is spinning you. You think of, in the old days, they used to have a thing called a spin top, which nobody plays with anymore. People stopped playing with spin tops in the 60s, but that used to be a big thing. And spinning is sort of like that, but they're spinning your mind. You're not able to be settled. They're spinning you on the whole, on basically. So then you're thinking, what is the opposite of spinning? The opposite of spinning doesn't work if you're being spun because you're not centered and they're attaching negativity to you. So If somebody's spinning you, you won't be able to meditate, because if you are in a good situation, which a lot of people are, it's like if you're in a good relationship with someone that cares about you, or you're in love with someone or something, then you can meditate. But you can also be spun by someone who finds out your needs and tries to control you by feeding you negativity and worst case scenario stuff, the cheapest food, the smallest amount of money, and treating you like a nobody. It's a terminology that fits into the category of spinning. Now, why am I making this video? Because this isn't normal psychiatry or normal therapy type language. It's not used in psychology classes, which I've taken. The term spinning doesn't exist. It's more like street therapy. It's terminology that psychiatrists use that's not written in books, and they have other phrases for it that are more complicated, hard to pronounce, and technical, and they don't use the terminology spinning. And if you go to therapy classes and you see a therapist, they don't tell you this stuff, because they're only going to listen to what's going on, but they're not going to explain this to you. And the reason I'm explaining it to you is because if you're smart enough or capable enough of understanding the dangers of being spun, but other people are not going to use the word spun. They're going to say abused. And when someone says abuse, you start to look for, what is it, physical? And then it's confusing. So it's easier to use the word spinning because it's more directly applied to the actual process of what's actually happening. Now, if somebody says abuse and it becomes mental abuse, that's easy terminology. So what is mental abuse? Mental abuse, most people think of a woman being abused by a man, which is a good example. How does a man abuse a woman? By first telling her that he's in love with her, and then slowly whittling it down into controlling, and then not caring about that person and trying to turn that person into a slave.